The grand ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers, polished marble floors, and the laughter of the city's wealthiest families. Expensive suits, designer gowns, and sparkling jewelry filled every corner of the luxurious venue. But in the middle of all that elegance stood one quiet man wearing a simple black servant's uniform, carrying a silver tray with complete humility. Guests barely looked at his face before judging him. Some ignored him as though he didn't exist. Others mocked his appearance, whispering that people like him would never understand success. What no one in that magnificent hall knew was that the man they treated like a servant wasn't an employee at all. He was the hidden owner of the billion-dollar company sponsoring the entire event. Before this unforgettable story begins, if you believe kindness costs nothing, that every person deserves respect, and that second chances can change lives, please like this video. Leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to English Stories for more emotional and inspiring journeys. Ethan Brooks had spent his entire life learning one lesson: that money could never buy character, always speaks louder than appearance. He had grown up in a tiny apartment with a single mother who worked 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. His childhood was filled with worn-out shoes, second-hand clothes, and nights when the electricity was cut because the bills couldn't be paid. Yet his mother never allowed poverty to become an excuse for bitterness. She reminded him every evening that the richest heart belonged to the person who respected everyone, regardless of their position. Those words stayed with Ethan long after she passed away, becoming the foundation upon which he quietly built an international technology company worth billions of dollars. Despite becoming one of the youngest billionaires in America, Ethan disliked publicity. His face rarely appeared in magazines, and almost no one outside his closest executives knew what he looked like. He believed that fame often blinded people, while anonymity revealed their true nature. Every year, before selecting senior executives and business partners, he secretly visited company events disguised as an ordinary worker. He wanted to witness how people treated those they believed had no power. To Ethan, kindness toward strangers was the greatest qualification for leadership. That year's annual charity gala was especially important. His company was preparing to sign a partnership worth billions of dollars with one of the country's oldest investment firms. Hundreds of influential guests gathered under one roof, eager to impress one another, while photographers flashed their cameras at celebrities and executives. Ethan quietly helped the catering staff arrange tables, refill drinks, and carry heavy boxes into the kitchen. None of the workers knew his true identity either. They simply believed he was a temporary employee assigned for the evening. As the night continued, the differences between genuine character and expensive appearances became painfully clear. Some guests smiled warmly and thanked every waiter who served them. Others behaved as though the staff were invisible. Ethan watched carefully, saying little while memorizing every face. Then came Victor Harrison, the arrogant son of the investment firm's chairman. Victor had grown up surrounded by privilege and believed wealth gave him permission to treat others however he pleased. The moment Ethan accidentally brushed against his expensive jacket while avoiding another guest, Victor exploded with anger. Without asking what had happened, he publicly humiliated Ethan, calling him careless, useless, and unworthy of being inside such an elegant event. The surrounding guests laughed nervously while many workers lowered their heads, too afraid to defend someone they thought was merely another servant. Ethan quietly apologized even though he had done nothing wrong. His calm reaction confused several people watching the scene. Most expected embarrassment or anger, but Ethan simply picked up the tray he had dropped and continued serving drinks with the same peaceful expression. Deep inside, however, he wasn't hurt by the insults themselves. He was saddened that so many successful people had forgotten the value of simple human dignity. Later that evening, Ethan noticed something entirely different across the ballroom. An elderly cleaner struggled to push a heavy cleaning cart over the thick carpet after someone had spilled a drink, while wealthy guests walked past without noticing her. A young financial analyst named Daniel immediately rushed over, helped clean the floor, and thanked the elderly woman for her hard work before returning to his table. Daniel had no idea Ethan was observing every detail. That single act of kindness spoke louder than any speech made on stage that night. As midnight approached, anticipation filled the ballroom. The audience waited for the mysterious owner of the sponsoring company to arrive and officially announce the billion-dollar partnership. Rumors spread everywhere. Some expected a famous celebrity entrepreneur, Others imagined an elderly billionaire arriving in a limousine surrounded by security guards. Victor confidently boasted that whoever the owner was, they would surely admire powerful people like himself. The master of ceremonies finally stepped onto the stage and welcomed everyone to the evening's most important announcement. The chairman of the investment firm proudly thanked the anonymous company owner for transforming industries, creating thousands of jobs, and supporting charities across the country. Then he invited the mysterious founder to join him under the spotlight. Silence filled the room. From the side entrance, the same servant everyone had ignored calmly walked toward the stage. At first people laughed, assuming it was part of the entertainment. Then the chairman smiled with confusion before realizing the truth as several board members immediately stood up in respect. Ethan removed the servant's name badge, adjusted his jacket, and accepted the microphone. Gasps echoed across the ballroom as giant screens displayed photographs of Ethan receiving international business awards over the past decade. Every face turned pale. Every whisper disappeared. Victor's confident smile vanished instantly. Without showing anger, Ethan thanked the catering staff, the cleaners, and every employee who had worked tirelessly throughout the evening. He explained that he had personally served guests because he wanted to understand whether character still mattered in a world obsessed with status. He gently reminded everyone that titles, expensive clothes, and luxury cars never revealed the true value of a human being. Only compassion did. He revealed that every interaction during the evening had been carefully observed, not to embarrass anyone, but to identify leaders worthy of representing the company's future. The room remained completely silent as Ethan announced a decision no one expected. The partnership with the investment firm would not proceed under its current leadership because respect could never be separated from business ethics. Instead, Ethan invited Daniel, the young analyst who had shown kindness to the elderly cleaner, to lead a new division within the company. Daniel stood frozen in disbelief while thousands of guests applauded with genuine admiration. Ethan explained that technical skills could be taught, but humility, integrity, and compassion were treasures that could never be purchased. Victor lowered his head, overwhelmed by shame. For the first time in his privileged life, he realized that the greatest loss wasn't the canceled business deal, but the respect he had thrown away through arrogance. His father quietly apologized to Ethan before the audience, admitting that wealth had distracted their family from the values that truly mattered. Ethan accepted the apology without bitterness because revenge had never been his goal. He believed people changed more through forgiveness than humiliation. Months later, Ethan's company continued to grow beyond anyone's expectations. Daniel became one of its most respected leaders, creating programs that rewarded employees not only for performance, but also for kindness, teamwork, and integrity. The elderly cleaner received a lifetime pension funded personally by Ethan, allowing her to retire with dignity after decades of hard work. Even Victor transformed. He began volunteering at community shelters, learning to serve others without expecting recognition. The painful lesson from that unforgettable evening became the turning point that reshaped his entire life. The story spread across the country, inspiring millions to look beyond appearances before judging another person. Parents shared it with their children. Teachers discussed it in classrooms. Business leaders reflected on the importance of humility. People slowly realized that every stranger carries an invisible story, and every act of kindness has the power to change someone's future forever. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your family and friends, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to English Stories so we can continue bringing you inspiring stories that remind the world why kindness still matters. Special request before this story ends. Write in the comments, respect everyone. Your words may inspire someone else to choose kindness today. As the lights dimmed inside that magnificent ballroom, the expensive decorations, luxury cars, and glamorous clothes slowly faded into memory. But one image remained unforgettable in every heart present. That night, the quiet man, carrying a silver tray with humility, while the world judged him by his uniform instead of his character. In the end, people didn't remember how wealthy Ethan Brooks was. They remembered that the richest man in the room was also the humblest. His greatest achievement wasn't building a billion-dollar company. It was proving that true success is measured not by how many people serve you, but by how respectfully you treat those who serve others. And perhaps that is the greatest fortune anyone can ever possess.